On my mind, gotta hustle and grind. Financial literacy always on my mind. I'm stacking knowledge, no time to waste. Gotta invest smart, gotta keep up the pace. I'm reading books, learning all the tricks, studying the market, making calculated picks.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Reckless Ray Dinero, and we are back at it again with another episode. What are we talking about today? Today we are starting to get into, this is a three-parter, people, because I had to break it down. Otherwise, it would have gone over an hour, well over an hour. It would have been hours. But we're going to break down my financial plans for 2025. Now, I know that it's pretty early. Everybody's going to start doing these types of videos next month, but I have already started making the moves to go towards my financial goals of 2025. We've got them lined out already. We've already started making the moves and adjustments. The reason I waited to record this video until now is because I, just like the rest of the market, was waiting for clarity of what administrative space we were going to be in with the presidency, because there was going to be two different plans. They were both similar, both very much, I'm going to win either way, but the way that we were going to go about it would have been a little bit different had Harris pulled out that win. She did not pull out that win. So now we're going with the other. We had to rearrange some stuff because we didn't know. We didn't know what was going to go on until what went on. And then we knew very clearly. But I'm a worst case scenario planner. And, looking at stuff on the internet, if you would have believed the media and everybody else, she had it in the bag. It was a wrap. So we was making plans based on that, a continuation of what we had, which I could have survived in. I don't know that the rest of the citizenry could have survived in it, but I would have been able to navigate. So we had our set of plans. We had to make some tweaks and adjustments. We got to see some of the market response following the announcements and the officiation of things. And here we are. Like, it's what it is. Like, this is the market that we're going to be in. This is what we're dealing with. And yeah, we're just going to get to it. So we're going to break that down. But before we jump into the episode, I want to make sure that you have hit that like button. I'm about to drop some gems. I'm going to let you in on the way that my mind works, the way that we're going to be making the decisions that we're going to be making moving forward. So I want to make sure you hit the like button. If you are not subscribed, I welcome you to join the Wolf Pack. That's what we call ourselves over here. We are the Wolf Pack. This is an extension of my primary channel. This is just bag talk all the time. There's no politics, me arguing with people, any of that other stuff. This is just money, all bag talk all the time over here on Future Financial Strategies. Now, if you haven't subscribed, you should probably subscribe. Also, you should share the video because we're dropping gems. We're not trying to get rich by ourselves. If you found value in this, I'm sure somebody you know will find value in this. So hit that share button. Drop it on your socials. Let some people know that you're tapped in with your boy Reckless Ray Dinero over here. Now, the reason that I'm doing this video is because this is going to be the lens that I look at everything through. When people are trying to debate me about money, and I break it down and they're like, oh, well, I'm going to just break it down to math because I don't have an emotional attachment to any of the tools or strategies that we use over here. We're just testing stuff with my money, not even financial advice. It's just one guy's journey to $1 million. And I think we're going to get there exceptionally fast with the rate that things are going right now. With that said, I do want to give, the reason I broke this down into 3 parts is because I want to definitely give the background of the lens of how I see things, because a lot of people don't do that. They just get up here, they spout their stuff off, and there's no context for it. They just say whatever they say, and then they believe that they're right. Math decides if you're right with finance, though. Like, it's the truth. Like, if we all make gains, but somebody makes more gains than the other person does, or somebody's generating more income than the other person is, math is math. The best thing they can do is hope that you can't sustain it, which is what most of these people do. They're like silent haters. They're just like, oh, well, that's a scam. That doesn't work. And then, like, while you're actively showing that it works and working it and showing the receipts, just like we do over here on Future Financial Strategies, then they're just like, oh, well, you can't do it forever. Okay. like I'm not going to adapt. I mean, that just shows you where their mindset is at. They can adapt. They're like, whatever they're doing, whatever strategy they have, if they want to wait until they have $500,000 portfolios, so that way when they go buy their Coca-Cola stock, they're actually getting $1,000 a month. Like, we're already breaking $1,000 a month with a portfolio that was under $20,000. Keyword is under, was under, because it is no longer under $20,000. It's things are running over in the portfolio right now. The income portfolio is doing some magic. When I start seeing TradFi portfolios doing crypto numbers, I smile a bit. Not gonna lie. Crypto portfolio, insane right now. Again, smile a bit, but I'm used to that. Like, it's every 4 years we get to see those numbers and talk our stuff and beat our chest. Over the long haul, though, people say, oh, Bitcoin isn't tested. It's still highly volatile. You're right, it is highly volatile, but over the last 15 years, there's not a single thing or product that's outperformed Bitcoin, period. I mean, yeah, okay, so it hasn't been around 100 years, but like 15 years of consistent, you're wrong. I mean, like, if that's your thought process on Bitcoin, you're literally just sitting around hoping it fails. And that's the only recourse you have, because for the past 15 years, you've been wrong, like dead wrong, like horribly wrong. Like, if you were my financial advisor, I would fire you wrong. Super wrong. Also, super not putting the numbers up on the board to even compete, and trying to explain to people that, like, they should be happy with their little 10% gain when I'm over here buying houses and stuff. It's crazy. But I digress. This episode is to give people the full context of how I am looking at money, how I look at my money, and the reasoning behind the decisions that I make. When people go, oh, well, that's weird, you're like buying that, it's pretty expensive right now. It's like, well, I got a target, and like, these are the goals. And it affects everything that I do, like the way that I look at money, period. And I might actually throw in an episode on how I look at money. That would probably actually be another one that would give some context. But as we jump in with this part one, this is the breakdown of the understanding / logic / thesis of how we are moving into 2025 and how these goals came to fruition. So I made little banners for you guys. I'm going to show the banner. So this is the first one that we're going to talk about. I'm just going to throw them up, give a little blurb about it. We're going to talk about it, go on a little rant about it so that you understand why I chose these. The first one, the first understanding. This isn't even a thesis. This is just reality. This is an understanding. No one is coming to save you or me or anyone. It's not going to happen, especially not financially. Nobody cares about your financial situation. No one does. Maybe your mom does. Maybe your spouse does. But considering the divorce rates and what most divorces are over, which is money, your spouse doesn't care either. Stuff goes bad, it's over. Your mom might care, because they'll like normally let you like cry on the couch, hang out over there. Your mom might care. But the reality of it is, no one is coming to fix your financial situation but you. That's the first and foremost understanding. If you are in these financial markets or you're trying to get yourself together financially, that's the first thing you need to understand. And I'm going to add one more caveat onto this, because we are going to rant about each one of these, because I'm feeling hype now. I bring these up, I get motivated. This is the type of stuff that I look at every single day when I wake up. This is what's going through my head every single night before I go to sleep, so that my brain is just primed to think about solving my money / not wanting to go to work problem. This is probably what you're going to have to do. I mean, some of you have to hit rock bottom. I prefer you didn't, but like when I hit rock bottom, these were the types of things, the realizations that I've come to in my 4 decades on this planet. About, I'd say 10 and a half, 15 years of actually working actively on it. Yeah, that's right. 15 years of actively working on fixing my financial problems, getting into financial freedom / early retirement, kind of muddling around doing that stuff. As time progresses, as the numbers runneth up, as the bags get bigger, as the opportunity and financial discipline and literacy expand, stuff starts going faster. So I'm on the tailwind now. Now we're on the tailwind of this because we will be at least in the position to be able to retire early. I mean, I'm projecting 36 months, but like the way that this bull run's starting off now, it's got me wondering if this could be the one. Because I was planning on it not being the one, but we'll see what we can do with this income portfolio. Because like I'm starting to wonder to myself, this could be it. But I digress. No one's coming to save you. The other thing is no one owes you anything. That's going to be my other thing. Because like when I was down in the dumps and broke and dusty, and it wasn't even that I was broke and dusty. I was out pretending like I had money. I looked great. I was spending money at the bar, going out, blowing money all the time. Never having more than $100 in the bank. Actually, seeing $100 was a rarity during that time period. And I just got to the point where I was like, I'm sick and tired of having a flat tire be a make or break moment in my financial life. Like tire goes flat, one tire. And I'm looking at myself like I will never financially recover from this. And like that feeling, that disgust, that level of shame of myself, because I wasn't willing to ask anybody for money. So like I was just like, I got to deal with this. But like after you go through so many, I got to deal with this. This is, after you go through that experience so many times, there's a certain level of disgust and a feeling of shame, like you're a failure. Like granted, obviously I wasn't doing it at my mom's house, but you still feel like a big piece of poop, like you're just constantly broke, like you constantly can't afford anything. And for me, it wasn't even that I wasn't working. It was that I was spending all my money. Like it was literally like a scenario where I was working hard. Like I was always working. I was one of those people who was pretty much a 7-day-a-week worker. I've been that way since I started working. Like I started working at 15 when I was in school through the week, work on the weekends, sports practices on the weekends around that. Like I'm always doing something. But to be always doing something, to be working 7 days a week and not be able to replace a tire, not be able to handle a random expense, not have any money in the bank, doesn't feel good. Like you're just like, you're constantly spinning your wheels. But like also I was living at the edge of what I was making. I was just like, cool. Like if I got more money coming in, service industry, there's always more money coming in. So like you come from service industry, you're just perpetually broke. Like just what it is. Like I knew like one lady that I knew of that was really good at saving money. And like, she was so good at saving money that she was cheap and didn't tip the bus kids well, even though she asked the world of them so that she could make money so that she could buy her house. And I that was another life lesson for me. I knew that I didn't want to get rich by being miserly to the point to where you're screwing over people that you're relying on, that are your support. I don't want to get rich on somebody else's back. Like that really is off-putting to me. People who feel the need to do that are off-putting to me. People who feel the need to do that and then think they're shady about it, like you can't see what's going on and they gaslight you, are very off-putting to me. I don't like it. It's a sign of bad character. And like people who have bad character aren't successful. I'm just going to put it out there. Like you're just never going to get successful doing that. Like it might not catch up with you in the short term. You might be able to stretch it out for a little while, but on the grand scheme of things, being a miser and getting rich off the backs of other people that work hard to support you, that probably doesn't end well long term. Just gonna put it out there. I don't believe in karma, but I do understand that people who consistently engage in negative actions have negative outcomes if they don't stop. So it is what it is. But nobody owes you anything. So like I'm not a big advocate. Like I'm not sitting there. I'm a horrible, horrible advocator for myself. Great executor. Terrible at advocating for myself because I don't believe that I have to ask anybody. I'm not going to beg anybody for anything. It's like if you don't pay me well, I'll figure out how to not work for you. Like that's kind of my MO. And so having that mindset, that's the reason I ended up really taking my finances seriously, because I don't want to have to worry about having to go change jobs so I can get a pay raise. Like, I don't want to do that. I also don't want to ask for a pay raise. I don't want to have to be constantly going back and forth with somebody about how much I'm making while they're going on vacation 4 times a year. Like, I don't want to do it. So I'm not any longer than I have to. Like, I'm going to work very hard in the interim. I'm like, grind it out, but like, get to a point to where you don't have to go to work, or if you do go to work, it could be something you actually want to do, so that way you don't have to worry about having those conversations. So yeah, that's number one. Number one, no one's coming to save you, and we're going to add the caveat on there that no one owes you anything. That's what we're doing with number one. I hope that's sunk in. I hope it makes sense. I know a bunch of people are going to get like the cringe on that, because we live in a society where people are told that they're owed the world, they're entitled to all sorts of stuff. And fortunately, I missed that train. I don't know if I just didn't pay attention when they said it to me or what, but I've always been you get what you kill. You go hunt, you kill something, that's yours. So we're out here hunting. We're hunting out of the market. We're hunting out of the crypto market. It was the first market where I became successful at that. Before that, I just grinded. Like, I just worked all the time. When I got a side gig, I Ubered. I utilized the gig economy. Like, you can be successful in it. A lot of people want to make it their work, and I'm like, I think it fits great as a side gig to fill time when you don't have something more productive to do. So at this point in my life, my portfolio pays more than what I was making a month Ubering. So there's no point in me necessarily doing that unless I have to sustain anything, because that would just be extra work, and we have something that produces more income than that. And like, the more I focus on meticulously going through and actively managing my portfolio, the better things work out. Same with my crypto portfolio. Like, the crypto portfolio at this point, it runs. So now that we're in a bull run season, I'm actively managing it. I've got a couple of altcoins that are getting ready to be in reallocation phase. So like, I'm looking at the markets, I'm watching that. It is more productive for me to do that also than Uber. So like, we kind of shifted into brain work, which is something that most people don't necessarily figure out until later. But grind culture, I think that there's a few different types of grind, and one of them is the physical attribute. If you don't have a business, set up, I mean, setting up a business, you're going to hit that grind mode. But if you are just a working class stiff like me, like most of us, part of that may be you're just going to grind yourself. But if you're doing it for long periods of time, like, it can mess you up. It can affect your health. So that is a piece of it too. But it is a tool. If you're a hard worker and you can get in 100 hours a week, and you can do that for a small period of time, and then the extra money that you're making, you can get that into your portfolios and start building up something that's perpetual, kind of like some of the strategies that we're ascribing over here that I'm utilizing and testing with my finances. Then you can do that for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and build that portfolio up and do it faster, because at this point, Ubering is rapidly becoming something that's meticulating around in my mind, because I'm like, well, I could get stuff done faster. Like, I could get more money into these portfolios at this point. Like, I could supercharge what I'm doing. Do I need to? No. But could I? Absolutely. And the thought's there. Like, I'm like, yo, I could throw in like a day a week maybe and just do that and just hit it real quick and just get in there and get some money in the market. But those are the things that I'm thinking about. And I mean, it might be a little bit counterintuitive. I don't think it should be, but a lot of stuff that shouldn't be counterintuitive is counterintuitive now. But it's a key understanding that I have that helps with the decision. So we're going to move on to number 2. Now, I know not everybody's happy about who we got for president, but Trump won. Not only did Trump win, the Republicans got the House and the Senate as well. It's across the board, sweeping, red wave, if you would. I know some people said it was a red mirage. It's very real, very happened, very a thing. So as we're getting ready to transition over, this is another understanding. We have a risk on, which means, what's that mean? Risk on means that cheap money's coming back. Those of you who can't get access to cheap capital, guess what? You're going to be in luck because the tide is coming back in. There's going to be cheap money. There's going to be deregulation. Hopefully stuff's going to get better for businesses, both small, medium, and giga businesses, obviously. We're in a risk-on environment again, and the market has responded to that with the exponential run-up as soon as it was announced. Now, Bitcoin, I understand part of that was probably because it was that's going to be part of it because we were going to have the Bitcoin run anyway, but right now, institutions are the ones who are doing these run-ups. The buys on Bitcoin that are driving the prices up so much are institutional buys. They're large buys. It's not people aren't in the market. Retail is not buying. I mean, I'm buying, and those of you who've implemented a Bitcoin standard are buying. I am starting to get people reaching out to me in regards to want to talk about crypto, want to get my opinions on some stuff, kind of get some insight and some thoughts. People are starting to buy a little bit. People are taking notice, but retail really hasn't started their buy. I think once we hit $100,000, which I do believe is going to happen before the end of this year, I think that's going to be a pivot point for retail. They're going to start rushing back in. I think once we get above $90,000 solid, you're going to start getting those answers, those types of conversations going. Until then, though, retail or institutions are who's buying right now. So again, risk on presidency, risk on administration. People are getting in position now. We have a few more days. Well, I'd say a month. We got another month basically before the full transition of presidency is over. We're starting to get people assigned to positions already. We're getting updates from Trump via his videos, which, for clarification purposes, I think they're great. I know more about what's going to be happening when someone becomes president than I ever have in any other administration, because he will just pick up his phone and make a video. And I do like that level of transparency. I like knowing who's going to be doing what I'm going to be expecting, what he's immediately acting on day one. It's going to be great. But we're in a risk on environment. The market has already responded, but you do not wait for the president to go sit in the chair before you start getting positioned. So big money and institutions are getting positioned now. Me, I'm also getting positioned now. You make those positions as soon as they made the announcement. It was like, okay, we're switching the plan. This is what we're doing. We're under the understanding that this is the financial environment that we're going to be in. These are the markets that are going to do well. We're doing research to see who's going to be affected and who's getting what and how that's working out and what industries are going to be affected, because we might be putting some investments in those industries. These are things you have to watch. The macro of what's going on with the nation based on who's in office is something that you can look at and capitalize on. We should be set up, whether you're happy that Trump won or whether you're not happy that Trump won. You should be positioning yourself to win financially and fiscally either way. You can't just be like, oh, it's over because so and so is president. The world moves on. People make money under any administration we've ever had in the history of this country. People made money. That's consistent. So gotta adapt or else. All right, moving on to the next one. The Bitcoin bull run is on, people. As of this recording, we touched $90,000 a couple of times today and yesterday, which today is Tuesday. Yesterday was Monday. We opened up in the market, surged up, touched 90 again today. 90 is an area of resistance. The question is, are we going to blow through that? Hopefully we do, because I've got a couple of longs that are placed that are kind of relying on that. So it seems like the dips that we're getting are down to about 85 right now, but we're still in price discovery. So we're going to see how far up they can push it. But the Bitcoin bull run is on. Now, as you know, my income portfolio, my traditional finance, my income portfolio that gets dividends every month that we're using for income, so that we don't have to worry about touching or spending the crypto until we are good and ready and the environment is right, or we are in a country that the environment's right. Heavily affected by Bitcoin. The surge that we've had this week, I am up so much in that portfolio. We're already, so the crypto portfolio, which is funny, this is funny. The crypto portfolio is not beating the S&P 500. All my other portfolios crushing it. We are destroying the S&P 500. I'm a good investor. How about that? So we're looking at getting hopefully some large payments coming out, because the income strategy that we're using is we're investing in high yield dividend ETFs, which run on placing call options on the underlying stock. We are utilizing a stock that ETF that tracks MicroStrategy. I also have some that are generalized mixes, but we have a lot. Our core position that we've consolidated down into, and now we're building out some other positions off of our tracking MicroStrategy. We also have instituted a MicroStrategy standard as well as a Bitcoin standard. So we are actively accumulating MicroStrategy stock. Now, it got expensive really fast, and it is getting more expensive really fast. So I'm kind of almost in that FOMO space, to be honest, because it's running up, and like it's running into a buy range where like it's inconvenient for me to purchase it with my checks. So we're gonna be working on it, but good Lord, did we have the best laid intentions and plans, and then life happens, bull runs happen. So we've got 6 more shares to buy, and they're going to be pricey. So that's what we've got going with that. But this is all tied to the Bitcoin bull run. My thesis is tied to the Bitcoin bull run and Bitcoin in general, which brings us to our next thesis. So we've had 3 understandings, because the Bitcoin bull run being on is an understanding. It's cyclical. It's been the 4th year. This is what it does every Bitcoin bull run cycle. But this is a thesis. The thesis is Bitcoin is going to $1 million. How can I confidently buy no matter what Bitcoin is doing? Because I am under the thesis that Bitcoin is going to $1 million. I don't see how it doesn't. Governments are buying it. We're talking about having a strategic Bitcoin reserve for the United States of America. The United States of America also holds, I think it's over $1 billion in Bitcoin already. They hold a lot of Bitcoin, a lot, from confiscation that they've confiscated. So they're going to stop selling it off. That's one of the first things, but they're also talking about adding to the stockpile. Brazil holds Bitcoin. You can use it. You can use Bitcoin as tender in Brazil. El Salvador, it's the government holds it, mines it. You can use it as legal tender there. A lot of third world countries, a lot of countries that are not necessarily first, so like second and third world, you can transact in Bitcoin there already. They're already heavily utilizing the network. Most of the Bitcoin transactions that go over the Bitcoin network are coming out of Africa. Those are facts. Governments, you've got publicly traded companies, MicroStrategy, Tesla holds a lot of Bitcoin as well. Globally, there are a lot of private companies that hold Bitcoin. MicroStrategy being a publicly traded, Tesla also being a publicly traded. You've got Bitcoin mining companies that are also holding Bitcoin. Washington Mutual or Massachusetts, it's like there's a couple of insurance companies that have put Bitcoin in as a reserve as well. When we're talking about the amount of people who want it and are holding it, obviously BlackRock's holding it. You can get it through Fidelity. Fidelity's got it. as these banks start releasing access to custody Bitcoin and you can buy your Bitcoin through there, in order for you to buy Bitcoin through the bank, they have to have the Bitcoin, which means they're also buying Bitcoin. And I mean, you're probably not selling something to somebody that you're not holding yourself in regards to an asset. So there's just a lot of like pension funds are utilizing Bitcoin now. Like it's the ultimate hedge. It's the ultimate way to make sure that your purchase power grows. In my opinion, that's my thesis. And I believe that so many people are in the market. So many people are buying. So many people are getting their hands on as much Bitcoin as possible. Much like myself, there are people who were in before me. There were people who were in when I got in that actually focused and got the assignment. Because when I first got into the crypto market 11 years ago, I did not get the assignment. I didn't. I was just in there. I was trying to get rich next Tuesday. I didn't get it. And the funny thing is, 11 years ago, if I would have focused on Bitcoin and actually solidified that and had my mind right then, I would be excessively wealthy now. But again, hindsight's always 2020. So our thesis of Bitcoin going to $1 million, at $1 million, MicroStrategy is worth, the MicroStrategy stock that I have is worth $33,000, something like that. A share. MicroStrategy is setting themselves up to be the next Berkshire Hathaway, in my opinion. In my opinion, I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to be one of those holdings where it's like, that's going to be the new age Berkshire. Like, hopefully it gets to that level so that they can have an investor meeting, because I have plenty of shares and I will be able to go and they'd be like, hey, Mr. De Niro, you're a shareholder. Like, we're going to treat you like you're special. Like, it'd be nice, like, to be able to, but we'll see. But as Bitcoin goes up, so does MicroStrategy. And I'm pretty sure that they're going to do some more stock splits along the way up to leverage to buy more Bitcoin. And as they do, I will be scooping up more shares. I'm going to be scooping up shares while they're expensive, because with the way that this run is going, I should be getting some really good dividend payouts. So I might be accumulating that 10 shares a little bit slower, but I'm going to get them. I'm going to get them, because that's my initial goal. And then we'll see what we're going to look at for 2025, because I don't know, like, pulling another 10 in 2025 might be a little bit difficult. It depends, because like we're running that income portfolio up, and it's starting to grow. Like we're doing some stuff now. So we'll see how it goes. Now, my last one, and this is all a build up to this last one. But before we do it, and before we get into this last, and this is an understanding, it's not even a thesis. So I only had one thesis. But have you liked the video yet? I need you to like the video. Like, I do want to get the engagement on this channel. I do want to get this channel out into the algorithm so as many people as possible can see this content. Hopefully have somebody who is in their feed, in their algorithm, that's willing to tell them the truth about these things, that's willing to explain themselves. I don't see a lot of that. So I'm trying to be that. Also, I'm not on the mountaintop. I'm not rich yet. Like, I'm still going to work every day. I got 7:30 to 6. Like, we do 10s. So I have a Friday off, which is cool. But I'm still in the rat race. We're trying to get out. So this is me showing you along the way. So like the results that I'm posting when we do the portfolio update, when we do crypto portfolio update every Wednesday, when we do the financial update at the end of the month for the previous month, like those are my metric numbers. Like, I'm not making that up. That's me tracking and documenting my journey to hitting this $1 million marker. Okay. So now that I'm hoping that you guys have liked and shared the video, and hopefully if you've made it this long, you have subscribed and turned the notifications on, because I don't drop stuff all the time. First of the month's pretty busy, but outside of that, I'm not dropping a bunch of stuff so that you're getting an obnoxious amounts of notifications from me. Like, I give you the content when it's ready, fresh off the press, and then you can have it, do with it what you will. But outside of that, I am not spamming like that. Okay, let's get to this last one. So the last one, what are we targeting? everything that we're targeting as far as our purchases of and acquisitions of assets, we are looking at two things. First being exponential growth. So anything that does not produce income. And honestly, with the way that I have my income portfolio set up, there is some growth in there. That is not the intent of the portfolio, though, people. If I was flat on that and just getting the payouts every month, I would be good too. I just want that to be known. But we are getting some growth in the portfolio. It's kicking the S&P 500's butt. So there's that, which is nice. It's nice. It does feel good to pick good stocks that go up also. But with the income portfolio, that bad boy is normally just sitting in the red, spitting me off a check every month. That's what it's there for. It's there to give me the check. That said, it is nice to see it in the green and to see some pretty decent numbers on it. The other thing that exponential growth, our long-term holdings, like we've got a little bit of income hanging out over in there, a little bit, something to produce a little something. But the goal of that portfolio is exponential growth. They're long-term holds, and I understand everybody's like, oh, long-term. My thesis of Bitcoin going to $1 million, we are nowhere close to $1 million Bitcoin. So those are long-term holds if I'm planning on holding them until Bitcoin's $1 million. Because what we've set up is I've got 3 layers of defense. First layer, income portfolio. We're trying to get ourselves to a state to where we can live off the income, off of the income portfolio, and still have money left over to reinvest and buy our long-term holdings. The second layer of defense for the retire early crowd, because you need to have access to the money if you're trying to retire early, right? Second layer of defense, the long-term holding portfolio. So that's what most of the people do when they tell you, get in your 401k and the next thing you know, you got to eat off of it. So you can only take X percent a year, because if you do that, then you're good and you can just eat off of it forever. That's the second layer. So we got the income producing, just spitting out income every month. You get a check every month. Now it's a variable check. It's not consistent. Some months are higher than others. Some months are blow off top high and you feeling great. Kind of like last month when we got over $2,000 and broke all kinds of income records that weren't for something that's outside of the crypto market, because I've had months where we've done way better than that, but we're moving in that direction. Like I'm almost wanting to see if I can replicate those crypto numbers in my income portfolio. Like I could if I put enough money in there. So we'll see, because like I could be real comfortable off of those numbers. Like we did a whole bunch of really good stuff with my personal financial situation during that specific bull run, but I think I can replicate that with the income portfolio. So we've got some stretch goals that are a little bit higher than like what our current goal is, because we're over 50. I think we're over 50% to that getting projected out in Snowball Analytics. We'll revisit that on the portfolio update. But yeah, we're looking for exponential growth or income. And the income is the first layer of defense, because if I can do that and then consistently reinvest and keep kicking money over into my long-term holding portfolio and continue to build that up, then I really don't have anything to worry about, because I don't have to touch the Bitcoin. And as Bitcoin gets itches closer to $1 million, the stocks that I'm putting in my long-term portfolio are tied to Bitcoin. So they get exponentially more valuable as well. And then I also have that as a layer. So like technically speaking, I don't have to touch the Bitcoin at all. And it's just there, and it's a solid foundational worst case scenario. You can pack up if I'm going to be in a different system. The Bitcoin has me covered then. And we're going to leave it at that. So like, hopefully you guys have a good, did I give you guys the insight into how Reckless Rated Narrow is going to be looking at these picks for 2025? so that you can understand why some of these crazy kooky strategies and crazy kooky positions that I might be super excited about, why I am. This is the context for that. And I'm going to reference this for the other two parts of the video, because now the part 2 next week, definitely be over here on Thursday next week, because we're going to be jumping in to how we are directing the cash flow next week. Now, this is going to be in the weeds. It's going to be blue collar strategy here of how to direct your cash flow to maximize it, and what we're going to be doing in 2025, and how we're going to be directing that cash flow and our goals around the cash flow piece of my financial strategy. Till next week, people, it's your boy, Reckless Rated Narrow. We are out. Peace.
Money on my mind, yeah. Focus, got no time for games, nah. I don't play, man, I'm all about that financial literacy. Investing in my future, building generational wealth. Dollar bills, they be calling my name, but I ain't chasing fame, I'm chasing change. Learn the game, now I'm playing it smart. Putting my money to work, it's an art. I'm stacking paper, building my own empire. No more living check to check, I'm getting higher. Investing in stocks, real estate, and more. Gotta secure the bag, that's what I came for.